My solar system app was just a small thing that I started on as a side project really, I guess as a way to sort of take a break from the more demanding projects that I was currently working on at the time. And even though I would definitely have to say that those demanding and those larger projects are the ones that provide me with the greatest pleasure from the challenge that they offer, I've always felt that having a side project has provided me with a lot of great value. And I guess that is because, well, in addition to, as I said, allowing that sort of relaxing environment where you can just play around and experiment with new things without, I guess, running the risk of doing some mistake that puts your whole application on lockdown. I guess it is definitely about all the new things that you can learn from a side project. And in my solar system app in particular, I found this to be very true. But that is because up until the point that I started the project, I'd only really worked with single view applications before, such as geolocation apps, messaging apps, or just like Quizlets in general. But the solar system app, on the other hand, it was a much more sort of engine heavy and animation based project, which was a framework that I'd never actually really worked on before, and I had no real experience going into it. And just to give a simple example, just taking the stars for an example, with it being a solar system app, you would need stars in the background to make it look very realistic. And the problem was that the way I had my application set up was that you would click on a planet and it would zoom you in to provide you with more information about that planet and also pictures from the planet. The problem was that as you did that, the stars that you originally had in the background, they would also sort of get zoomed in, so you would end up with these big bright sort of circles in the background that would like block out text and also the pictures that you try to show. So what you would have to end up doing was spawn new stars as you zoomed in, so you would still have the stars in the background instead of being like big circles. And the problem with that, however, was that as you kept zooming in and out, you would just end up having more and more stars in the end. And unless you removed them, you would run into memory problems, because at the end of the day you were running it on hardware, right? Hardware has its limitations, so my application would end up eventually just freezing up and then crashing. And to counter that, even though it was something that I never actually had to do before, I would have to create functions that would automatically remove stars whenever I changed game state by zooming in and out. And by having learned how to deal with that situation, I was provided with a lot of knowledge that I could apply elsewhere. Just to give an example, one of the applications that I'm currently working on right now, it makes use of a map and sort of markers to pinpoint different locations. And had I not learned the importance of being able to combine those small markers into one giant one whenever you zoomed out, I would keep running into the same problem of having memory crashes. And I guess that is the main reason why I will never really stop working on side projects, because even though I start on them with no intention of ever really publishing on the App Store, they always teach me things that I can apply in the bigger things that I'm working on. So just from that aspect alone, I guess it's the reason why I will never stop working on things like these, because they teach me a lot of things, and I think they're, apart from being a lot of fun, they are great use in the main things that I'm working on.